Good morning. Welcome to Plugged In, a simple lesson from Jesus right after this. And welcome back. Glad to have you with us. This is the last free week before school. I think the teachers start back this week doing some work, and I believe it's next Monday or Tuesday that the students are back. So enjoy this last week with your kids. Kids, enjoy your last week before maybe some school breaks. If you have your Bibles this morning, we're going to go to Matthew 14, but I'm going to use something as an introduction prior to that. I have always enjoyed the Sermon on the Mount found in Matthew 5, 6, and 7. And I think part of it is because of the simplicity of the things that Jesus says. It seems like most of the time when he is talking to the common folk, he speaks in a language which they will understand a little bit better. In fact, when you get to the last part of Matthew 7, Matthew writes this at the conclusion of Jesus' Sermon on the Mount. He said, when Jesus had finished saying these things, the crowds were amazed at his teaching, because he taught as one who had authority and not as their teachers of the law. So, a couple of things there. Yes, Jesus taught with authority, but the way he taught was easy for the people to listen to and for them to understand. The teachers of the law probably made it a burden. They put stress and rules on the people, and so it just caused for them to always feel tense. But Jesus would teach in such a way that the common folk would be like, aha, I get it. Now I share that because there are a number of times that Jesus teaches some long lessons, and then there are times that Jesus says just a few words, and those few words are an incredible message in and of themselves. And one of those is found in Matthew 14. Just prior to this event that I'm going to read about, Jesus has fed 5,000 plus people with 5 loaves and 2 fish. He'd been teaching all day. The people were hungry. The disciples said, hey, let's send them away. Jesus says, you feed them. And one of his disciples, especially this is recorded in John's gospel, one of his disciples says, 8 months' wages would not take care of these people. And Jesus said, have them sit down. And so then what do we have? And again, in John's gospel, Andrew brings this little boy that's got 5 loaves and 2 fish. Little did he know that his picnic lunch was going to now take care of probably 5,000 to 10,000 people that day. And so Jesus blesses that. He feeds the 5,000. There are 12 basketfuls left over. You can imagine that the disciples are ecstatic. What a miracle that they saw before them. But it's the end of the day, too, and they're tired, they're worn out. Jesus is worn out, too. We sometimes forget the human side of him where he needs to get away. And so what we're going to do is pick up verse 22, and this is how it reads. Immediately, Jesus made the disciples get into the boat and go on ahead of him to the other side while he dismissed the crowd. Jesus needs some time alone. And so after he had dismissed them, he went up on a mountainside by himself to pray. He needed to get rejuvenated. He was worn out. He was tired, but he also needed some time with his Father just to give him some new energy. So later that night, he was there alone, and the boat that the disciples are in is already a considerable distance from the land, buffeted by the waves because the wind was against it. This is the Sea of Galilee. It is known as a place where storms would come up immediately. It was sort of tucked down into a bowl, and it was just known for these automatic storms that would come up. So there's this idea that at least if it's not a storm, the winds are blowing, the boat is out in the middle of the lake. I mean, it's as far forward as it is backward to get to land. And in verse 25, it says this: shortly before dawn, Jesus went out to them, walking on the lake. I always wondered if Jesus stood there watching the boat, waiting for it to get to a certain point. And, the disciples are making it through the night, taking turns rowing, some of them sleeping as well. And when the disciples saw him walking on the lake, they were terrified. "It's a ghost," they said, and they cried out in fear. But Jesus immediately said to them, "Take courage, it is I, don't be afraid." "Lord, if it's you," Peter replied, "tell me to come to you on the water." "Come out," he said. And Peter got down out of the boat, walked on the water, and came toward Jesus. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, he cried out, "Lord, save me." And immediately Jesus reached out his hand, caught him. "You of little faith, why did you doubt?" Now, there's a lot that can be done with that story as far as Peter. Yes, he does sink. He sank in the water because he took his eyes off Jesus. There is that lesson. So there's a simple little application for us tucked within this story, that we need to keep our eyes on Jesus in the middle of the storm, or even when we feel like we've got things under control, we need to keep our eyes on Jesus. We make a big to-do about him sinking, that he had this lack of faith for a moment, but let's not forget, other than Jesus, Peter's the only human being to ever walk on water. All right, so let's give him a little bit of credit on top of the fact that he got out of the boat. But here's the thing I want to give to you for today, because maybe there's something going on in your life that you're feeling just a little anxious about, terrified about, little on edge with. Jesus gives to these men a simple message, much like the angels gave to his parents. Remember when the angel visited Mary? One of the first things that Gabriel said was, "Do not be afraid." When the angel visited Joseph in the middle of the dream, "Do not be afraid." When the angels visited the shepherds, "Do not be afraid." And that message just continued to go even from Jesus. Look again there where he says, "Take courage. It is I. Don't be afraid." There's a lot of times that we face some things in our life that we just don't know if we can face alone. And the truth of the matter is, we can't. There are some things that are a little easier to face, but there are those things that we need to know that we have him by our side. And he's going to be there all the time anyway. But the encouragement for today is this: don't go into any task with this sense of fear or trembling, because with Jesus on your side, anything is possible. So take courage, trust in him, and don't be afraid. Thank you again for joining us each week. Hit like and share on this, and we will see you again next Monday on Plugged In.